always wanted to come to the United States. I got a college degree in India from Bangalore, India. But, America was always a dream. There was this Texas lore that had crossed oceans and reached India. I used to read a lot of Westerns, and there were all these cowboys in cowboy hats, and I wanted to come see Texas. And so I applied to the University of Houston, got on a plane, and came here to Texas, to Houston. I landed in Houston with $200 in cash, and so I had to get a succession of jobs, which I did. I sometimes held one job, two jobs, worked my way through school. Texas is a land of opportunity. It doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter whether your family is prominent. It doesn't even matter if you speak with a Texas twang. What matters is your ability to innovate and your ability to work hard. Stephen F. Austin was our first Secretary of State, and I'm the 109th. And, while Secretary of State, Stephen F. Austin, to paraphrase him, said that the prosperity of Texans was the object of his labors. Well, I feel the same way. The prosperity of all Texans is one of my missions and the object of my labors.
My earliest memory of wanting to care for people is watching my mom go to work. She was a caregiver in a private environment. And my sister was a nurse as well, and I'd watch her go to work, and I just became enchanted with the idea of caring for others. I started actually in healthcare as a housekeeper. When I went to apply for a position, that was the only one that was available with no experience required. And as a young mom, trust me, I knew exactly how to clean house. So I started in the isolation unit at our county hospital as a housekeeper and was pulled up through the nurses who worked there who invited me to try to do more. Once I became a nurse, I went into critical care. And I loved it. So when they asked me if I wanted to move into administration, I turned that down several times because I wanted to stay with the patient. And eventually they said, you can do a lot more and have a lot more influence if you will go into a different level. There are a lot of ways you can enjoin yourself with others and make a difference by being a volunteer. And I've always enjoyed volunteerism. And all you have to do is take whatever you have that's a part of you and be willing to give it and share with others. It is my joy and my honor to be recognized for the career that I've had in healthcare.
I grew up before there was even a thought of a glass ceiling. And girls were supposed to do certain things. They're supposed to be good wives, et cetera, et cetera. The thought that you might be a doctor or a lawyer, no. It really hit me when I went into television because I was the first woman on television in Houston. And I had no experience, nothing. They just threw me on the air. And it was very difficult. It was kind of like running a play of football. The guys would talk all the time. They'd never give me an opportunity. So I'd sit there and wait like a quarterback and go whenever they gave me an opening. So much of what we're told on television is just somebody's opinion. I saw that with the Middle East. You don't know until you have lived in the countries. I worked in that part of the world for 20 years. I know those people, and they will fight for their freedom if they are given the opportunity and the materials to fight with. I've been doing community service all my life. Talk about the glass ceiling, actually, that was all it was open to women to do. What has always worked is helping people help themselves.
Becoming a pilot, I always blame on my mother. I had 2 job offers. One was to teach biology in Homer, Michigan, and the other was to join the Air Force. And I walked on the beach with my mother, wringing my hands as a 21-year-old would. And I said, I think I'm gonna follow in your footsteps and become a teacher. And she levels her eyes at me and then she thumps me on the head and says, that was my only option when I got out of college, so you think again. 25 years later, I finally retired from the military. I think the military opened its doors for women and helped us walk through those doors. And my generation was the one, I think, that took them off the hinges. We proved that women could fly aircraft, that we could command both men and women, that we could go to war and yet still function and be great leaders. You're allowed to fly for about 20 years, tops. So like most colonels, I found myself in a job in the Pentagon. And it was while I was stationed in the Pentagon, General Garner, retired 3-star general, was chosen by President Bush at the time to lead the rebuilding of Iraq. He was one of those enlightened men who knew that he needed to surround himself with someone who didn't look like him, think like him, or even act like him. And he chose me. My generation worked to take those doors off the hinges, but the piece we missed in this was ensuring there were safety nets. So if I'm gonna go to combat, if I'm gonna do the business of war for this nation, I better have the safety net when I come home so that I can, get well and contribute back to my family, my community. And that didn't happen for women vets. And so that's where the organization that I am the CEO for, Grace After Fire, steps in. The neat thing about Texas is if you show up, they will let you participate. My husband and I retired and we came to Texas, and within, a couple years I'm on a school board, I'm working in a nonprofit. Maybe it's the pioneering, forefathers and foremothers of this state, but they say, come on in and participate. We're glad you're here. I think it's pretty awesome.
When I first became First Lady of Texas, I had no idea what I would really do, but I followed my passion, I followed my heart, which is healthcare. A special place in my heart is for that newborn baby in the neonatal ICU that fits in the palm of your hand, that you develop a relationship with. So I decided to work on a few topics that had to do with healthcare-related issues: domestic violence, child abuse, sexual assault, immunizations. And it's been a joy for me to put my face in that forefront so maybe I could help one person. I have to give my father the credit for making me the person that I am today, and of course my mother too, but my father was a family practice doctor, and he taught me about compassion and caring and making the right decisions, and I learned so much from him just following him around every day. The Texas Conference for Women, this will be our 15th year. I had no idea it would go as far as it did, but every year I get excited about it. Every year there are powerful women, creative women that bring a story to tell to the women of Texas, and we all learn from that. We did a total restoration of the home. And this house is built into the next century for whoever may occupy it. I don't know that there's the most rewarding part of being First Lady. That would be hard for me to describe because there's so many aspects of it, and whoever thought that I would be in this situation that I am. Every day is fun. Every day I wake up wondering what I can do for Texans in the state of Texas.
My mother had a 2-year teacher certificate from 1920, so she had been a school teacher for a while. My father graduated high school and went to a technical school for civil engineering. Mother and Daddy, who were educated for their time, saw that the 4-year degree was the degree of the future and the entry into possibilities and opportunities. You know, we're so focused on technology today. We're so focused on the major today. But at Texas Women's University, for example, every major has a liberal arts, a core. And I still believe that the reading of great works, knowing something about history and art and music, it's a wonderful preparation for becoming a whole human being. It raises aspirations. And I think aspirations are, some people call them dreams, but they don't have to be. And so we do things like that at TWU, and we're immensely proud of it.
Things that I learned from my parents and that I still take with me today: you treat everyone with respect, you help where you can, and you try to determine when you are beyond the scope of what you're able to do. Sometimes I don't get there. Sometimes I think I'm invincible, but I try to remember those things. It is important to me for a child to learn to read, to have Head Start, so that they can blossom out, because they become contributors in whatever capacity that they may. They don't become a liability to society, but a contributor to society. I was reared by my grandparents who were both illiterate. My oldest brother helped me with my homework, and then neighbors who knew maybe the subject matter that he didn't know. People, they are not asking for a handout. They're asking to be lifted up so that they can be a participant in society, and I want to help them get there.
When I came to Austin, I really didn't know what I was going to do. And I understood that women could do two things, be nurses or teachers. And I heard that nurses sometimes had to be at work at 7, so I picked teaching because that was 8:30. While I was doing my student teaching and living with 2 other young women, we came under attack by an individual who returned to our apartment over and over again, attempting to gain entry, and all of us became very aware this kind of violence, sexual-related violence, was an issue. We decided there are changes in the law that are needed, and we need to work together to change public understanding of the issue because it was so typical for people to blame the victim. The first couple of times that I went to any national gatherings, what I began to realize is we were way far ahead of many of our other states and territories, and that we had things to share that could help advance the movement to end violence.
In my lifetime, there have been many obstacles for women, for racial minorities, for African Americans. I had to find my way. How would I make a contribution? Was I going to allow bitterness or anger or hurt to keep me from moving forward? Or would I see those challenges as opportunities? Service is, for me, it's a method of praise. I am grateful to God. I am grateful to my country. I am grateful to my family for so much, so many opportunities, so many gifts. Every day for me is another opportunity just to give back, just to give service wherever I can, to do as much as I can, for as long as I can, and as often as I can.